Hello, and welcome back to another session and podcast of Cosmic Convos, where we discuss any kinds of topics with esoterics, spirituality, questions, definitions, understandings of everything that you guys want to know about. So, if you have your own topic that you want me to discuss, email that email address down below, cosmiccassie@outlook.com, or visit my website. And you can also visit my website for additional content or to catch up on other podcast sessions that you've missed out on. I'm also on YouTube at Cosmic Cassie 369. Let's go ahead and jump into today's Cosmic Convo, which is ways that we receive guidance. I want to go over some of the most common ways that spirits and your guides and angels they communicate with everyone around them. And there's some very specific ways that you can pick up on this communication and realize if you are trying to be communicated with by a guide or a spirit or someone like this. So, as I do my readings, this is where I'm getting my information is from my own personal clients and experiences of how I see that they are getting messages and they're usually questioning, is this a message? And sometimes that is the very first hint is if you are receiving some kind of information in any kind of way and you keep questioning, is someone communicating with me? Are my guides trying to tell me something? Is this a spirit letting me know something? That's usually a really good indicator that yes, it is. Just the fact that you have to question it typically means that is exactly what is happening. So, one of the main ways that I will see different kinds of communication come in, again, this can be from passed on loved ones, your own personal guides or deities that you work with, goddesses, gods, things like this, your angels, or whatever your religious belief or spirituality journey is. This is the main way that I see most people come in being communicated with is quite literally through intuitive thoughts. Intuitive thoughts are a little bit different than intuitive messages or feelings. When you feel something with your intuition, it's typically a feeling in your gut. It's quite literally that gut feeling that I need to go left, I need to go right, I need to leave. This person isn't safe. It's a very regal gut feeling that you feel. It's primal. Okay. Intuitive thoughts are more of these thoughts that kind of vaguely come into your mind and then leave. They don't linger and they don't come in as if someone's actually saying them to you and communicating them with you. So it doesn't feel telepathic. It doesn't feel like there's a conversation happening. It quite literally is a very random thought that pops into your mind for no specific reason. This is what I refer to as an intuitive thought. So if you're speaking with someone and they're telling you a story and they're telling you all about something and they're asking you to give them something, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, without feeling like they're lying or even feeling the need to suspect this person of lying, you suddenly get an intuitive thought that pops into your head that tells you, I think this person's lying. They're using you. And then it goes away just as fast as it came in. This is the number one way that I see most times people are being communicated with if they don't have a direct and clear line of communication and they haven't really developed that skill. This is how I see most of them being communicated with. So if you're going throughout your day, you're going throughout situations, experiences, things like this, and these thoughts are popping into your mind and then they leave and it's your thoughts, it feels very much like your own thoughts, and then it leaves just as fast as it came in. And it's usually thoughts where you have no reason to have that thought. It's not something you were thinking about. It's not something that you are feeling you should be thinking about. It's not even something you were questioning or wondering. It's just a thought that randomly just kind of pops in. This is the first way that I see most people being communicated with. The second way is absolutely through angel numbers and synchronicities. This is something that I've talked about previously and I've written blogs on that you can always reference and read. A lot of other people have also talked about these two things extensively. One of the ways that spirits will definitely communicate, especially your guides, is they will send you repeating numbers and they will send you different synchronicities. So if you're wondering, and I'm using this example because it's something that's actually happening to me and has happened, is feeling the need like I need to move. I need to move and I don't know where I need to move. I know I want to move out of the country. I know the places that I want to move, but nothing feels quite right. So I sit and I wait for messages to come to me. And the way the message came to me is first it was through a thought where I randomly got a thought to look something up, and I went ahead and looked it up, and I was led to Washington State through looking this up. And I kind of duly noted it, said thank you. If this is what you're trying to let me know and tell me, please, give me a little bit more validation with that just so I know this is a message. And then in the next week of that thought leading to me looking up Washington State, I randomly started talking to people who I would find out moved here from Washington, still live in Washington, and are just visiting Arizona. I would have clients from Washington visiting Washington come and speak with me. I found out that a coworker was originally born in Washington and moved to Arizona. And I would have all these random synchronicities around Washington. So, this is the second most common way. And this is a really good way that you can start to ask for clear communication and validation, kind of in the way that I did, where if you need some extra validation on an answer or a decision or something like this, ask for them to send you signs and messages. And you will begin to have synchronicities around the exact thing that you're seeking more information on. The third way is going to be through, this is what I would call, it's kind of like astral projection. It's kind of like dreaming. So not everyone will have vivid dreams that they remember. And so I don't want to, say that it's just through dreaming that you'll receive these messages. A lot of times what happens is people that, they don't even have to meditate daily. They don't have to be into that kind of practice. They don't have to be into dream recall or anything like this, or even astral projection. But what happens is people that haven't practiced these things and don't really pay attention to their dreams will have a very vivid memory of what feels like a dream, but they're not quite asleep and they're not quite awake. So it's almost like before they fall asleep, they're guided into a meditative state. So that way they can actually recall and remember the dream and know that it has significance. And before they fully fall asleep and have this quote unquote dream, they experience situations or messages, communication, signs through colors or numbers or significant locations, places like this, tastes, experience. It's like they get flooded suddenly with a very in your face message that's really hard for them to wake up and not remember, because again, it feels like these messages come in before the person is fully asleep to make sure that they will actually remember it. So if you've ever felt like you've spontaneously went into like a meditative state where you're asleep, but you're not in deep sleep, it's not a dream, but you can't quite understand why it doesn't feel like a dream when it should. That's typically what I'm talking about with this form of communication. And this form of communication usually comes in with people who really don't pay attention to those synchronicities. They really don't pay attention to those instantaneous thoughts that kind of leave. They don't really pay attention to the messages and the signs and things like this that are around them every day while they're awake. And so this is one way that spirit will choose to communicate with people who might be a little harder to reach in their waking state. And so they kind of get them to this meditative state to make sure that they remember the dream or they recall a specific piece of information from that dream. The last and final way that I'll talk about, this is quite literally being guided to see someone like myself, like a psychic or a medium, or someone who does spiritual work. This can even happen through feeling the spontaneous need to go and get Reiki healing when you've never really gotten Reiki healing. And in that healing, that person says, hey, I got some messages for you while I was doing your healing. Here they are. If they really cannot reach you, or there's a reason where they're feeling like you're very blocked and they're not able to communicate with you directly the way that they want, they will find a way to guide you into situations towards people that will relay the message for them. Now, this does not always mean those people are spiritual. This can be a stranger that happens to relay the exact message or answer or information that you needed to get through whatever you're getting through, or to have a deeper understanding with whatever you're needing. So those are some of the top 4 ways that I actually see a lot of communication happening, even if that individual is not into a spiritual practice or trying to actively communicate with their guides, spirits, angels, whoever it is. Again, if you would like a personal reading or would like to know anything more about this topic or subject, I do have other free content available, as well as channeled messages every Friday on YouTube, and you can access those through my website or get a personal reading there at cosmiccassie.com. Thanks for listening, guys, and I will see you next week for the next podcast for Cosmic Convos. Bye.